I'm going to show you how to change the oil on a Maxpeedingrods MXR4000 inverter generator. So we just got this generator new. I've got about 20 hours on it now, and the service manual calls for its first oil change after 20 hours, and then after that every 50 hours. So I'm just going to start it up and get it warmed up. Not super hot so that it's not terrible to work on, but at least that the oil flows a little bit better. And then we'll drain the oil, check the oil out, and then add in some fresh oil. So to start this generator, it's got a multi-switch. It says stop, run, and start, which is the choke. So we'll turn it to start, and then we'll turn it off. It won't take long for the oil to get warm enough for us to work on it. Okay, so now we've got some of our tools that we're gonna need. The generator actually came with this handy filler hose that actually screws right into the oil fill cap so that we can drain the oil without making a huge mess. You also could, if you have really good aim, you could use this to fill the generator back up with oil, but I'm gonna use a funnel, nice clean funnel. Instead, we're gonna drain the oil into this pan just so we can look at it when it's coming out, just to make sure there's not any metallic flakes or anything in there. Just being that this is the first oil change on it, it's a new generator, me wanna make sure that everything is spick and span and operating as it should be. So we're gonna turn the generator around, and we're going to remove the access panel. It's just got these two screws on it, and then it snaps off. Okay, I'm gonna take these. Oh, the bolts are staying in nice, that's great. So right down there, you can see this is our oil fill and drain plug here. So the engine feels warm to the touch, but not super hot, which is what we want. So make sure I've got everything nice and close. So we're gonna loosen off the oil plug. Okay, there's the dipstick. Yeah. Oil looks good so far. I'm gonna insert this filler. Doesn't need to be super tight, but tight enough so it doesn't leak. And now we're gonna do the glorious job of draining all the oil. So we're watching as the oil comes out. Make sure there's nothing sparkly in there. No chunks of anything. Okay. I'm actually going to put this thing on a stand so I can drain it a little bit more completely. Okay, so now I've got it on a stand, so let's see if we can't make sure we get all the oil out. Wants to fall off. Oil looks pretty dark, which could be expected on a first oil change from a generator because you are breaking in all of those new engine components. So after your first initial run of 20 hours or whatever the manual says, don't be surprised by some dark oil. You just want to make sure that there's no chunks of metal coming out of there. And if they are chunks of metal, make sure that they're not magnetized, so you can't pick them up with a magnet, because that would be a big hint that something is wrong. Chances are it's part of a bearing or something that shouldn't have let go, and you should definitely investigate further before you put fresh oil in it and start it up again. Okay, so now that we've got the oil out of there, then we'll just take this drain plug out. Put it on a rag so we don't get everything all full of oil. And I'm gonna put the generator back on the ground so I know that it's nice and level. And then basically you just fill up the generator until the oil is almost coming out of that oil fill spot. There's a dipstick that you can look at, but most of these small engines are made so that you really can't overfill them. You fill them until they're almost full, and they're good to go. But again, if your user manual has a oil amount that you're supposed to put in there, then definitely follow the user manual. This generator is Chinese, and it does have a great user manual, but it doesn't give me volume of oil that you're supposed to put in there when you're changing the oil. So we're just gonna go based on the dipstick and what it shows in the manual, because it shows the oil should be coming almost coming out of this fill hole. So we'll add the oil. We're gonna be using 10W30 semi-synthetic, because it doesn't call for synthetic or non-synthetic, but you know, this isn't a high use engine. It's not high performance, so you don't need to splurge for the synthetic, because we're gonna be changing it every 50 hours now, regardless of the condition of the oil, because that's what the service manual calls for. So I'm gonna drop this thing off the stand and then we'll fill it up. So now that we've got the generator back on level ground, we're gonna add some oil to it. You can see from the oil that we've taken out, it's really not that much in there. So we'll be careful not to add way too much too quickly, that it all spills out and makes a huge mess. So we're going to use our funnel, and then we're going to just glug in some oil, some fresh oil. So what I am going to be doing periodically, put in maybe like a third of this liter of oil, and I am going to clean up this dipstick and just yeah, take a look to see where we're at. So it is showing up on the dipstick already. It's on the low side. So we'll add a bit more. And we'll use the dipstick again. We'll take a little look-see. So we can see, I don't know if you can see that, but we're on the dipstick at least. We're in the ballpark. Touch more oil. Okay, we're almost up the dipstick, so we're almost full. Just watch, I'm gonna overfill it, make a huge mess. Oh yeah, I see some dripping down now. Cool. So now the dipstick's full right up to the top. So I just clean this up. Clean up the dipstick. Reinsert the dipstick. And clean up any oil that I spilt in there. Of course, wherever you're using a generator, it's probably super dry and dusty. And if you have any oil in there, it's just gonna be so gross, so quick. Okay, and then before we put the access cover back on, we're gonna start the generator and let it run for a few minutes, just like when we were warming it up. And then let it sit for a little bit and just verify that the oil level still is good. So I'm just gonna start this bad boy. Again, even if it's warm, put it on start. Turn the generator off, let it sit for a minute. Yada, yada, yada. It's probably enough time. We'll remove the dipstick. You know, I never understood why calling somebody a dipstick was supposed to be an insult. They're very handy. Handy tools. You gotta know. Am I low on oil? Do I have enough oil? What does my dipstick say? I feel like it shouldn't be an insult. So if we look at the dipstick, okay, we're about 3/4 of the way up on the dipstick. So we could add a splash of oil and then we'll call it a day. When I say a splash, I mean a splash. Okay. Make sure this is clean every time you put it in. Okay, and from here we'll just make sure everything's nice and clean in this compartment, just so it doesn't get all dusty and gross. And then we reinstall our side cover. It should kind of snap in place here. That sounds good. And then we'll reinstall these side cover bolts. And just like that, we're ready to go camping. Awesome. Well, I hope that this helped somebody. And yeah, it's very easy to do yourself. Don't really need any special tools. Just pay attention to the oil that's coming out and the amount of oil that's going in, and verifying after you've started the engine that there is the correct amount of oil. Follow your service manual if you have one. Make sure that you're using the right weight of oil. And yeah, happy camping.